There we go. Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Stellaris Let's Plays. This is Northstar. I hope you folks are well, taking care of each other and being kind to yourselves. Testing. There we go. I think that's a little loud on the mic. So, those new to my channel. Those of you new to my channel, welcome. For those returning, welcome back. New people, heads up, I am disabled with long COVID, so not always the quickest thinking. Sometimes I get distracted easily. I mean, unfortunately, these things happen. Let's see, by the way, with this, I'm actually partway through a series of Night's events. If you're new series, it's, by the way, the series is organized in a playlist from oldest to newest, so check it out. There's a whole lot of content here. I'm struggling to survive. Disabled on COVID, need to get my channel to where I can monetize it. So, if you want to help, like, subscribe, comment. This is a small channel, so I can get back to all the comments. I can read them, so it'll actually make a difference. Unlike these gigantic channels, which you have all these people commenting on. I don't understand why people don't comment here, where I can actually read it, but they comment these enormous channels that. Some of it might be dark marketing crap, by which I mean some channels are probably actually hiring people to go and do that to drive the algorithm. Once or twice I've accidentally stumbled across ads for such things, so I know they exist. And corporations, it's just like how corporations fill Yelp reviews with fake pause reviews sometimes. For like their local branch or something, or small businesses even. And their service actually sucks. No one would have ever said they were good, but you know, they get hire people to lie for them, basically. This song too many times. So what's my mind? Why? Take a second to get oriented here. Ooh, my, real low on alloys. I should look for deals. Got any alloys? Nope. What minerals? You. What can I offer them for minerals, though? I like food, I think. I should check out what the trade. Yeah, it's cheaper than buying it, at least. Food's by far still the best thing I can offer them. Pick up some energy off them too. Oh yeah. There we go. Minerals and energy for food. So while I was trying to store up some energy mentally, physically to do this video, because long COVID leaves me exhausted, did think a few things. First of all, one thing that always keeps coming to mind with stars here. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. An attack of lightheadedness. I couldn't think very clearly. Certainly not enough to talk and do stuff here at the same time. I did a little bit of like relocating a robot from anchor before I just needed to lie down. I also had a quick snack, not eating quite well enough, partly because of GI issues, and it all coming out the other end very painfully. I won't say more about that, but, well, long COVID sucks. It really sucks. And having to deal with stuff like this, not fun. I'm gonna go to Irradiated Pops on the Tundra world. It even looks kind of like a Tomb world. At least thought Tundras did, at least from this view. Let's find y'all some music that's different. So one thing that's often discussed with this game is what authoritarian really means. And you always get, honestly, right-wing assholes who are like, ooh, authoritarian and stratified economy don't go hand in hand. Yes, they do. One little thought experiment for people, or question, rather, a hard question. Not actually a thought experiment. Thought experiments can be done for this kind of thing anyways. Sorry. Something from that snack sticking in the back of my throat. Some pumpkin seeds. One of the foods I can eat on this, despite the special dietary needs of my long COVID. With the IBS-like symptoms, FODMAP diet still has pumpkin seeds. Anyways. If you work, which most people do, I wish I was healthy enough to do that myself, but the long COVID, there's not a lot of jobs I can do, and getting employers to make the necessary disability combinations and the ones I still could is proving to be extremely daunting. They'll just make excuses, not call you back. And I'm not even sure I could pull off like 4-hour shifts. And I definitely, one of those combinations, I can't do more than 4-hour shifts at a time for sure. And even 4 hours could be too long for me. I get attacks of lightheadedness and stuff, and sometimes they come on very frequently. I definitely need at least a break an hour to sit down, or I'd get very dizzy. It's hard to find any employers who work with that. Oh, could buy some consumer goods there. I guess I should buy some energy now and then. The trade's piling up too quickly. I'm going to be adding more trade hubs. So anyways, if you work, think about your, I'd ask you, what is your attitude towards labor unions? And what is your attitude towards what the boss pays you? A lot of people with authoritarian leanings tend to be right-wing because authoritarianism is inherently right-wing, despite the nonsense proclaimed about, at least in the sense of this game, it's right-wing. About the Soviet Union, it was authoritarian in the sense of politically repressive, but not in the sense of having massive unjustified hierarchy. So though there's this myth that the elites of the Soviet Union lived super, super well, that's not true. They actually had the second highest level of income equality and some of the flattest standards of living, smallest difference between the rich and poor of any country on earth. Second highest after Sweden. So, yeah, Soviet elites were not living super high lives. That's a myth spread by neo-Nazis and shit. But, yeah, you could make an argument there, but the brand of authoritarianism in Stellaris is definitely right-wing. But my point is you'll see people that think that you get whatever your boss decides you deserve, and trade unions are bad. Why? They can't really say, or they make excuses, or they say it makes people lazy, which is blaming the victims of the system not getting paid well enough and trying to justify hierarchy by blaming the people who are lower in it. Or really, it's because it takes power out of the hands of the boss to decide how much people should be paid. All of these things are fundamentally authoritarian, and they will lead to political repression as well in the long run, which is what's starting to happen in the U.S. Economic repression leads to political repression. So, yeah, authoritarianism is is fundamentally a right wing. I will stand by that hill. I will stay on that. I will fight on that. I will I will die on that hill. I will stand by that fact. It is absolutely true. Anyways, I played some Victoria 2. And in Victoria 2, I can barely hear this, or I turned it up for you guys, so I'll turn it up for me. How do you get to a more left-wing foreign political organization? One thing, if you play that game, is a lot of countries start out with state capitalism, which is actually historically accurate. They may not call it that, but in terms of government would often just directly step in and build up industries and then hand it off to the capitalists. That's what state capitalism is in that game. The player who represents the government, can build factories, but then they're run by the capitalist class. Unlike a planned economy, which eliminates the capitalist class in that game. There is no market socialism, workers' cooperative style of socialism in that game. But I was thinking about nationalization of industries. Well, but technically that can be socialist if the government is under control of the people. If you still have a system that's got billionaires, they basically run the government. And so when you start nationalizing stuff, all you're doing is putting those industries under control of a government that's still under billionaire control, and therefore you're just changing which billionaires have the power. This is what some people falsely claim China is. China is dangerously close to state capitalism, but it is not state capitalism, it's socialism. But they are on a slippery slope towards it. That much is true. They really have to watch the growth of their private sector, and they're finally starting to get concerned about it and talking about nationalizing some large companies. Because the difference between state capitalism and socialism is whether the billionaires control the government or the people control the government. They both involve large amounts of the economy being owned by the government. But who ultimately holds the power? A factory might be technically owned by the government, but run by the billionaires, which is what in Victoria 2 state capitalism is represented. Or it might not, but the question is who holds the real power. India monarchies are fundamentally authoritarian. Especially this imperial cult, divine empire. The ruler is worshipped as a clean god. Yeah, that's like what people think ancient Egypt was. Which depends on the point in their history. Probably really ancient Egypt, but like right before Rome, it was actually more of a Greek culture. Like Cleopatra was actually Greek, part of a Greek ruling dynasty, the Ptolemies. But yeah. Really ancient Egypt was like that. That much is true. And they still had some of this imperial cult, even in the Greek Egypt. The Macedonian dynasties. The Macedonian dynasts, Ptolemies, they were Macedonian Greek. They just adopted the imperial cult and kept it going in Egypt. But they resurrected it, started to die out before the Greeks conquered. When the Persians came in, actually, the Persians had controlled Egypt, and that was how the Greeks came to control of it, because that one they had the Great conquered Persia. The Persians had started to get rid of the imperial cult, and the Greeks actually brought it back, which goes against all this right-wing nonsense about Western civilization, but that was always a lie. Alright, let's see, Stryber is about to... Boom. Should do the Genesis Preserve Complete thing. After gathering the native pre-sapient species. Whoa, that's a lot of influence. Our Genesis arc began creating a Genesis Preserve for them. The colony of star prime is ready to observe and guide this new species development. Amount of influence again, I guess just keep scaling up. That's fine. I can spend on Mastery of Nature, which I'll want eventually. Time to get to work. 200 influence, 4,000 uni. Not about to knock out this now, am I? No, 3 months and that'd be 50 more influence and would overcap me. spend it soon enough, though. I need another construction ship. It'll swing through here and build over in Serbius. Or Brius, actually. This is a different zone. Voidworm plague. Huh. Definitely not heard that before. It must be triggered somehow by the Voidworm attack. I thought that was on the screen with them. The Tale of Night Wayne, the robot's disciple. And so Kaiyang the Squire entered the Roxboxen system. Rogueboxen? Rogueboxen, that sounds right. There he came upon a planet recently visited by the toxic god, perhaps even as little as a century ago, judging by the telltale signs it left behind. As he entered orbit, a signal was picked up from the surface. Greetings. I'm Ghouls, subsentient AI and servant of the noble Sinople, whom still believe thou doubtest. As my designated liege AI bade me, I have surveyed this planet and discovered much about the mighty swarms with which the toxic entity beset this planet. This information I shall now transmit to the sapiens. So this would be like a droid's tech level robot, I think. A data transfer followed, and then another transmission. My purpose is now complete. I bid thee farewell. An energy pulse was detected on the planet's surface as the drone self-detonated. Why? Why did it need to detonate? It could have been salvage protect. As Kaiyang returned home, triumphant, he was deemed worthy of knighthood and elevated into the Order. Furthermore, the Order's research unit raised an enticing proposition. With just a few more data points, and assuming regular movement on the toxic god's behalf, they might be able to triangulate which region of space to search for its current location. So I could buff the knights with Unir influence. But I did some discussion on the forums. It does seem those buffs to knights are probably not kept. Some of the knights' jobs and the existence of knights are kept with a different empire taking control. Somebody tested by Plains UNE, Nations Earth, which is not the best, but it's an okay nation to quickly rush another empire. I guess he could have just put together because of some Rush Empire. Anyways, he conquered a knight's empire and tested. And yeah, he still had knight's jobs because he still got the Order's Hall and the Order's Demence districts. The Order's Keep building, though, disappears, and a couple of the buildings disappear, so you lose a large fraction of the knights, but you still keep some, and you don't probably keep any of the buffs to their output. But this, some Warfare Knights stay with the Knights Remember the Goals. That was the guy who got fried. This will remove a blocker, add a new thing, so I'll actually gain 2 districts because it removes a -1 max districts and adds a +1. Move swarms to the DD, adds subdued swarms. Food from jobs, plus 25%. Empire modifier, strike craft, fire rate, plus 25%. This used to give +1 base food output to squires. It's been changed, and the wiki has not been updated. It seems like it's food on the capital, though. I didn't expect that, or it might have kept more farms around there. Orders Keep will now give us 200 more knights. We can use these swarms as a weapon. So that's the end of that quest. Okay. Yeah, so it's a local food from jobs. And it is Strike Craft Fire Rate Empire. I'll keep these. That bonus will still be around. All the special features, including the Genesis Monument, should stick around, I believe. Genesis Preserves are destroyed if Genesis Guides lose control by net, because otherwise you can Empire stuck with them and unable to remove them. But the monuments, I'm pretty sure, stick around. This, by the way, will stick around. The Order's Excalibrator produces some energy, reduces habitability, reduces pop upkeep. That's but yeah, this building, the Order's Keep, which is what's been apparently I didn't realize, or I hadn't read carefully enough. The quest events were attaching the night jobs to this building, which disappears. The hall remains, the Demence remains. The Habitat Center Control goes back to providing politician jobs, no more night jobs or commander jobs. But yeah, all these extra night jobs I've gotten, when I improve the blockers, they'll be gone. But I'll still keep the improved tile blockers, and yeah. Yeah, so this is the path that's best if I'm anticipating a whole successor thing, whether they do Cosmogenesis or not. Also, some who weren't aware, you can click on a specialization like this, something like this, to change specialization. Doesn't show what the possible district specializations are. Should have double checked that earlier. One other thing I was made aware of on the forums, I spent too much time way into the night writing there. Insomnia, but I didn't make it better by doing that. One part responsible, one part the long COVID insomnia. Probably would have just saved myself some hours tossing, turning, unable to sleep, but you never know. Maybe I've got a little more. I'm gonna have some rough days with this, but because I have some things I need to be at that are earlier in the day. But anyways, these districts are actually really useful because you can put buildings that help with extraction, hence the surface quarry and automation building being preserved, yes, but you can also put research buildings in these support districts. That's the real use of them. If you have just one mining district, for instance, then you can add a materials lab there if you want, instead of putting it up in a research spec in the city district, or just even 3 research labs. Get more researchers that way. Not to mention you're gaining engineers. Yeah, so it just directly replaces some miners with engineers, same total number of jobs, higher engineer output, and while engineers now have a higher mineral upkeep, you'll be able to get a lot more of them when you especially include the additional research labs. It's just a fixed amount of upkeep. So the more techs you get, the less labor it takes to place that. So high tech levels, that's definitely worthwhile. Not necessarily the moment you unlock it, unless you have a planet with really good modifiers for research. Like Vitz in Secondus here, which has both Zone A and Unstable Tectonics. So if I had research labs, I'll produce, and of course has Genesis Monument, well that doesn't give society research, but I'll have extra physics and engineering output here. Although this does hurt habitability and happiness, but it's easy enough to get really high happiness, and habitability will still be able to cap it regardless eventually. Especially if I go synth ascension. So I have lots of 100% habitability pops. Yeah, I mean, the real reason to go synth ascension is for the megacore policy of computing cycles or whatever. If you go the virtual type of synth ascension for the virtual research focus, it's the policies. That's the real reason you want to go synthetic evolution, not the that come with advanced governments. The policies are attached to certain advanced governments. It's not the fast pop assembly, because that doesn't outweigh the increased pop efficiency of biological ascension. It's the unique governance stuff. There's also stuff like the virtual oligarchy is actually very, very good for edict upkeep. thought about whether I might want to go virtual focus instead of physical as a Megcore. I think you'd still have tons of civilians because it's not like virtuality. So many people started as individualist machines when the Machine Age DLC came out, and they went down the virtuality path, completely forgetting you can also get virtual pops, an entirely different system as a biological empire that becomes synthetic. And at the end of synthesization, all your pops become virtual, but as far as I understand, it's not like virtuality from being a machine from the synthetic age ascension perk that you do if you're already a machine empire. In that physical pops won't cause virtual pops to disappear the same way it will if you were an individual machine or a Gestalt machine empire and ascended. It's a different type of virtuality. So you still get pops, take up very little housing, have very little upkeep, although they have debuffs to production of some physical stuff like minerals, because obviously how is a virtual pop gonna swing a pickaxe? It's a little harder. You have to rely heavily on drones and stuff, but you can still have physical pops alongside the virtual ones and have virtual civilians, I'm pretty sure. So it might be worth it actually going virtual Megacore, even though it's not as good, the physical one, but then the oligarchy vassals I'll have will be better that way. Something to consider. Anyways. Yeah, also worth considering eventually redoing these specializations. In fact, I might have waited to build some of these single districts till later. I knew I was going to do that just because they're going to be retyped. Now I say that, but probably won't want to do that until I'm actually fairly, because it does increase the upkeep of researchers until I'm fairly high tech level. So maybe it's fine to be doing this. It's less optimal than I thought it was. Frontier, you get a follow-up event when it, well, later anyways. It's actually based on the presence of egalitarian pops, if I remember. That's what it seemed to be, which, even with that thick shift chance, I don't have any egalitarians. I do have a governor who's egalitarian, though. Huh, Sagor, I could put him on Gothra. Oh, he is on Gothra. He's the right place to potentially you can get a better plan modifier if you have some egalitarians. That's how you get permissive politics. You need at least 200 egalitarians. If you only have 100, you get a lesser modifier. And I think if you have none, you get the weakest. So if you can encourage some pops to become egalitarians, I can buff my society research at the expense of unity, but what unity right now? Later it'll be politician jobs, but for a long time it'll just be some biologists here. And there's Titanic life, so it's a great place for biologists to congregate. Anyways, let's go. My brain is... I clearly need louder volume. Not hearing this stuff enough. Alright, minerals, energy. Where are they getting this? They must be spending trade, but I don't think they have that much trade to spend. They must, maybe they're selling when I send them for trade and then buying. That'd be really inefficient. What is it? I'm saying food, right? Shoot. Could just be free minerals out of nowhere, knowing how this game is with the AI and how it treats. I don't want to reduce royalty quite so much. Alright. Squeeze some more value there. Basically totally bankrupting this empire. This is helping sure. Well, I can eventually gain control of their territory. Could including being able to conquer him to somehow become independent later because he's so weak. Assuming some other empire wasn't defense packing him though. Veiled tunnel. What? Oh. Because of the Shroud Walkers. They're passing through the system. Something waits in the Mintaka system. A veiled passage. Cut from the fabric of space-time. Its horizon rippling with psionic energy. Sensor data is erratic, and the crew of our science vessel reports strange disturbances. Wildly visceral, dreamlike visions. Persistent sense of being watched. Fitful hallucinations. Despite the frustrating lack of useful telemetry, it seems clear we have stumbled on a tunnel through uncharted reaches. A dangerous path, yet the rewards may be great. On the tunnel's far side lies a distant corner of the galaxies. What mysteries lie beyond the veil? I know this can actually permanently affect scientists who pass through it. Or admirals, actually anyone. Somewhat, they're heading directly towards it, but that's because it's right over the hyper. Yeah, you need a psionic theory for an active sharp reading. Well, we'll have psionic theory someday. Be able to pass through it. I think I can get it once I synthetically ascend, but if I don't rush it too much, I should be able to roll it, especially as a spiritualist empire. Alrighty then. Let's go on here with the construction queue. Doing defense platforms. What's the defense platforms? And then finishing up the shipyard. All this, it's just going to get me to the current naval cap. Which is about to grow as I gain more squires. Interesting. Getting so much naval capacity from jobs, even with the missing head of the Navy. I mean, head of the Minister of Defense, basically. 143 naval cap from jobs. It's because I have 21 Nate's jobs, and the job efficiency from the squires ups that. So I have considered to have 2,818 Knights. I guess these guys, the planetary defense armies they give, not bad. They're Decans, they're happy specials. Just gonna get a tech to improve our heavily up to max. I'll then should roll another society tech for that. I have to finish this up first. Alright, 34 minutes, I gotta hurry up. Alright. Derelict shipyard. That's what that anomaly was. I think this is the thing that can give a special project to pair it with construction ship. I could get there safely. It's not too far either. Interesting. that off till later. I may need all the time I can get. And I'm rejecting the steel. Actually, Scambians. At least to map out their territory. Let's see if this connects anything. Probably does. And I'll offer him another deal. I need minerals. I was able to keep focused for a second there. That was nice. Just a moment. Half a second I could almost think as felt like I could almost think as quickly as I used to be able to. And then it was gone. Oh well. Oh, this was quite safe of a system. No danger there. Guess I can stick Anja Bergmeister on that. I'll go do this because it's a bit of a gap. Or Ernst Klein, fire level. Since this is pretty safe, and this could be dangerous if I run into who knows what. There are criminals there. Interesting. It never fills up as much as you'd think. Looks like it's just this planet's moon left, and then I shall be able to build outposts here. Let's try this. I really want to see if I can just get one prospector bonus that still exists. Confirm to me that it's not actually hopeless and Trey isn't busted. Worlds has the head of guidance surveyed and nothing. But go through the effort of making bug report prospector doesn't improve resources anymore and being told yes it does. You just roll enough times and someone prove it somehow. Go through the effort of making the report, and I want it to be because, well, it's a bug. Speaking of bugs, sorry, just squish a little fly. Dragonfly. Being the most tidy around here doesn't help. This guy, the mermaid, he keeps trying to cause trouble for me. Today was asking me, is that your napkin hanging up like in front of the landlord? Because he was making this issue of some napkins before. They weren't really like them. It's like, no, it's not mine. It's not even a napkin. It's someone's underwear they left hanging up in the bathroom. It's not my fault. This is trying to cause shit for me. This guy. I didn't say it like that. I said that's not a napkin and that's not mine. It's someone's underwear. And about that tone. But yeah. This guy. This is son of a... He will not stop trying to get me in trouble. I know the type. I've seen people like this before. He'll be coy about it at least, though. Not. He could be more obnoxious about it. Could be worse. Let's see. I need more. Ships. And very tight prowess. You know who might have alloys? I didn't even think about this. Oh, I may have to pay through a nose for him. There's no chance to fall an Empire. Well, go bankrupt on this deal. 5 point something food per ally. Yeah, that's what I figured. They're gonna have to pay through the nose. They don't even hardly care about energy. What about trade? Trade compares favorably with food. Food's a little more valued, but could definitely some trade. Alright. This could put an end to all my ally problems. Because I don't want to trade too many anyway. No, I don't know how much they're good for. I only have so much I trade. Looks like this is worth each exotic gas worth quite 15 food then. So probably a little more than 15 trade. It's prices in buying exotic gas might not be quite profitable. These to get a little leeway. No. More trade because I'll just keep building trade hubs. Let's see. 41. So 5 alloys for 2 exotic gases. Yeah, it's kind of a bad price, to say the least. But if I am buying exotic gases on my market, you know what? No, this is dumb. It's not a good price at all, and I will have buildings that use exotic gases. Cool. That's a lot to do. This will be fine. Putting my whole economy into alloy production, basically. That's kind of how these things go. Deal with many threats. It's worth noting I could, in theory, just have done gravity snares and not try and kill these wardworms. But this will train my corvettes, and if I remember correctly, you get some resources when you kill worms. I don't think you need the wardworm hunter modifier. So, I don't have any barbarians. I don't. But most of all, it's just a matter of like tech versions. Maybe I'm just being dumb. Great. 13 months. Maybe after mining drone lasers, this pops up again. Get that. You need them against the hive there. It leads to have energy savings and mine drone lasers. Basically, my level of military preparedness is not adequate. I don't even have the techs. I need none, nonetheless. The ships, or even enough reserve ships and plus alloys, plus shipyards. Okay, this guy's turned down this deal. Probably already capped on loyalty, almost. Yeah, they're definitely doing something when they're buying and selling resources. Oh, there's some goods actually. Long time. Energy cuts the turn. I may be paying through the nose. Yeah, for the through the nose. Alright, never mind. Just minerals and energy for now. $23 days. So this month I'll finish mineral extraction on Gothar. Then I guess can do an automation district. I mean automation building. Automated job, so it's a full habit way, so we'll actually set this minerals output. I'll free up pop stockers tech machines. For net return of more energy than I had before. Now, this sounds like a while. I'm starting to make a little more sense. So kind of wake up here. Adjust. Just one bloody prospector thing. One. Just so close to I shouldn't deny her surveys. Alright. There we go. Energy minerals. I seem to be occasions of them turning down trade deals. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm probably guessing that's a little more away. Yeah, they seem to sometimes be turning down deals without actually notifying me. Seems to be just the Gambians to get away with that. Pop up, I don't know why. 0% have some more resources. Trade? Lots of trade. I want trade, right? Yeah. $60. No, I suspect I can do better with consumer goods. Yep. Two trade instead of one consumer good, though, is profitable. Alright, there we go. Super tight bargain. And I'm meeting naval cap again, which makes the Knights of the Void less unhappy. Oh, I need to be over the cap. Oh, very soon. That's council legitimacy, so I do want
evasive maneuvers.
Sure. New construction ship. Immediately tries to jump away. Away! The Sahara. So I have the Yukon, the Sahara, and the Bengal. Bengal's a little morbid considering there was a giant famine there. It was actually a famine genocide, which is... People always, when it's a left-wing government, they try and, oh, it was intentional, always, if there's a famine. But when it was something that was very clearly a famine genocide, the Bengal famine by the British Empire, people try and deny that. Even though there's abundant evidence that the British basically did it on purpose. Winston Churchill, specifically, who was a racist piece of shit. The stuff he wrote in his memoirs about what he wanted to do with Gandhi, let's just say Churchill was evil. People should not make him into a hero. He was not. Yes, he was a lesser evil, obviously, compared to the Nazis, and he led Britain in defeating the fuckers. That doesn't mean he was a good guy. He's just a bad guy at the right place, and his right time and place in history to be heroized by people who don't know better. Well, actually, many people do. The thing is some people are okay with the racism, and others... Well, the right started making Churchill into a hero of World War II, so they didn't have to make FDR into a hero, and even though FDR was the real hero of World War II. Doesn't have the morally questionable decisions of Stalin, and, you know, things that happened to his watch, like famines and the Great Purge, and he doesn't have FDR's left-wing economic policies. Therefore, as long as they overlook his horrendous racism and the famine genocide he committed, right-wingers can try and make Churchill into a hero. He also committed attacks on civilians using nerve gas in the Soviet far north before World War II. If that sounds crazy or something you've never heard of, it's because Most people don't learn how British troops marched into the USSR before it was the USSR during the Soviet Civil War. There were contingents of British, Canadian, American, French, Czech, all these foreign brigades, basically. Play Hard Zone 4, you think of it as volunteers, that went and helped the whites against the Reds in the Soviet Civil War. So they fought the Red Army, the Soviet Army, and lost. But one thing they did was they experimented with a brand new nerve gas weapon that the British had developed. Churchill had actually personally oversaw the development of this nerve gas weapon. He wanted to see it trialed somewhere, and he had the perfect place for it, or so he thought, in the Soviet Civil War, because he didn't think anyone would care what he did to the Soviet civilians, and indeed, no one in the West really did. But of course, it made enemies with the Soviets, and they despised Churchill for good reason many generations later, or made them less wanting to come to the aid of the British during World War II. As a result of this horrendous crime against humanity that Churchill committed. He had been a minister of munitions, that's how he oversaw the development of the nerve gas, and then he became the minister of war. Because, people move around in the government. He got promoted to minister of war, and so he had his pet project. But he'd actually wanted to gas villages in Iraq earlier, so this wasn't the first time he had suggested using nerve gas against civilians. Or maybe that was mustard gas. I don't know if it was his nerve gas he developed. It may have been a mustard gas, like one of the World War I. But he wrote in his personal diary about wanting to gas villages in Iraq, which is part of the British Empire, or sort of pseudo. It wasn't fully controlled by the British, but it was the British were pushing in there, trying to gain control. There's this whole thing about how much there's this whole system in the new DLC with how much control the British have over Iraq through the focus tree, which is supposed to represent that. But anyways, evil fuck. He also murdered civilians in northwest India. Well, I think it's modern day Pakistan, but it was Indian Raj at the time, who were supporting rebels. So he went in and burned villages. He was an evil piece of work. That was earlier in his career when he was an actual soldier, when he was young. Of course, Orwell was also a colonial cop at one point. Not a soldier, but a cop. George Orwell, also a terrible human being. Nothing good to say about Orwell. He was evil. And he actually worked for a British secret disinformation and propaganda agency that was created by government that had run on a campaign promise of making friends with the Soviets after World War II. And then hired people like Orwell and commissioned them to create anti-Soviet propaganda. The CIA also helped with it. And this is how we get shit like Animal Farm, which the CIA actually helped push into high schools across America and make it required reading, even though it's not a very good piece of literature. And 1984 is actually even worse. These are terrible. They're not well written. The plots aren't very complicated. The writing is bad, but because it was anti-communist shit, it got pushed into high schools all across the country. Niche was involved in that, as was the FBI. Alright, taking multivitamin, ibuprofen, keep forgetting those. Sometimes I'm sitting here, I keep it near my desk so I'll remember when I look at it. That's why it happens a lot when I'm doing video. We have uplifted the Queptillians to Sapiens. Cool. Uplift successful. The Queptillian are now sapient and fairly intelligent at that. They now fall under the dominion of the Iron Royal Planet States. Shouldn't I have gained 50 influence, didn't I? Alright, I guess it was even lower before. But tied up. I would have sworn. I have to go back and look at the video, see what was going on. I swear I didn't get the influence I was supposed to. And Genesis uplift complete. Now I lose the Genesis Preserve, gain Genesis Monument on Starboard Prime, which Preserve was actually pretty nice. At this point, it was giving 45% society research. Which might have been acting on this Titanic life forms. Nope, guess not. Away from jobs. But anyways, after our guide's unceasing dedication, we complete the uplifting project on Striver Prime. We have transitioned the Queptillian into a fully sapient species, and a Genesis preserve, which the once called home, has been transformed to a Genesis monument. Well, stand forever as enduring testament to the achievement that was the evolution of the species. Whole bunch of uni. New tradition. Finish. This just gives me some fun. This is a whole bunch of reduced star base upkeep. Oh, I'm paying 33 uni for edicts. This is probably like 25-ish energy, maybe. Starbase upkeep is way hard, but that's because it's more than doubled. Yeah, I guess the Edict Fund is more important. Harmonious Directives. I'll be coming for Bulwark of Harmony soon, though. Boom. This actually pisses off the Spiritualist faction. Stupid, why are there so many insects all of a sudden? I have to check the tape. Anyways. Time for synthetic evolution. Boom. Walking myself into the intended path of becoming synthetic. Some people want to see the biological, but actually by the time this gets through its stupid huge buffer I've got, it's a stupidly huge buffer. It probably won't be so new anymore. And maybe robots will be back in fashion in 2026. Maybe. Maybe not, because by then there'll be the new Sonic DLC. Anyways, let me pause this. This is about time to cut this. I want to go back and check what was going on with the influence. So, I wish you folks all the best. Take care of each other. Kind to yourselves. And may you always find a guiding star to lead you home. Until next time, this is Northstar. Adieu, and best luck to you all.